Hello, friends. Today's session is a makeup for yesterday's session. I was doing a workshop and really was too tired and didn't have the time to record one for you yesterday. So today is personal development. And what I'm going to talk about is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is very critical to be successful in life. And we'll look at why and how you can develop emotional intelligence. So what I'm going to start with is sharing my screen as usual. Okay. So what is it about emotional intelligence that we really need to understand? We are all, as human beings, wired for connection. Even if you are an introvert, you need connections. You need somebody or the other in your life. You can't stay alone. Whether it is at work, you need your colleagues, at play, your colleagues, your teammates, or in personal life, your relatives, friends, or whatever else you want. You want to be around people all the time. You want to be surrounded by people who appreciate you and who understand you. You don't want to be surrounded by people who do not understand, appreciate, and respect you. So you want to be around people who appreciate and understand you, whether they are relatives, colleagues, friends, customers, vendors. You are going to interact with everybody. And with all of them, you need to be with people who respect you. And cultivating meaningful relationship requires emotional intelligence. And that is why it is so important. Because without proper emotional intelligence, without a well-developed, well-honed emotional intelligence, you are not going to cultivate meaningful relationships. And to be successful, as I said, you need emotional intelligence. Why? Because you need to have a strong network of people to be successful. You need a strong network of people whom you can trust in, whom you can believe in, whom most importantly, you can bank on for their support, whether you are in a crisis or whether you are down in the dumps or whatever be the reason. You know that network of people that you know are there and they're going to stand by you. You can bank on their support at all times. And to develop such networks, you require emotional intelligence, because to build successful relationships, that's a must. And there are people who feel they don't have the emotional intelligence. I agree. I don't have enough of it. I'm still a work in progress. So if you don't have enough of it, the great news is that this is one ability that can be developed. And like all habits or all new things that you want to develop within you, it takes time. So don't expect it to happen overnight, but it can be developed. And today we are going to look at 5 traits or habits that you need to cultivate to develop EI. A lot of people refer to it as EQ also. I am referring it to as EI, emotional intelligence. So the first real trait that you need to sing on is self-awareness. And you need to know the real you. Now, when I talk of the real you, I'm not talking of knowing that, okay, I am a male, I'm 68 years old, I'm a BTech in chemical engineering. No, that's not what I mean when I say that you know your real identity. You need to be aware of your emotions. That is very important. And you need to continuously work on improving that awareness. It is never enough. You are never going to have enough awareness about your emotions. So it's a work in progress and it's lifelong. And you need to develop the right emotions. You need to be sure that whenever you are reacting to something, the thought, the feeling that comes into you are right. And very importantly, you can control them. You can regulate them. You might want to burst out and give it hell, but you need to be able to control. As I said, I am also a work in progress. No harm if you don't know it or if you can't do it today, but keep working on it. As I said, it's a lifelong process. And you need to develop the right way in which you communicate with people. Words are very important. So you need to cultivate an emotional vocabulary, so to say. You need to be able to put things in the right words at the right time to the concerned person. So you need to cultivate an emotional vocabulary. And you need to be able to communicate everything so clearly using the right words and therefore be able to clearly explain what you're going through. If you cannot communicate with others, don't expect yourself to understand what the others are trying to tell. And without using the right language, when you express your feelings, if you are not very clear about your language, trust me, whatever you are conveying to that person, even if that person is listening intently, your emotions are not going to be shared properly. They will have a very limited effect. And I have faced these challenges practically all my life. Maybe because I'm a little weird, but there are so often when people tell me things which I don't understand, or they are not explicit enough, or they just don't know the right words to use. The second most important thing for developing good emotional intelligence is to be an active listener. We always say in business, listen more than you talk, because by listening to your customers, you will really know what you need to do to improve your product, improve your service, whatever it is you're selling. So listen with attention when others communicate with you. Don't multitask when you're listening. Listen with attention when others communicate with you. And you need to be able to cultivate within you the capability, the ability to get other people and draw out their thoughts and feelings of whom you're interacting with. You need to have that knack. You need to develop it. You need to cultivate the knack of getting that person to open up with you. Okay. And once you get that, you know that there is a good, deep understanding and relationship. And whenever a person is talking to you, when you're trying to draw him out and when he's talking to you, or even if he's talking to you on his own free accord without your effort, listen and try to understand that person's position. Try to understand very clearly where that person is coming from. He may have a history. He may have certain perceptions which are contrary to your belief. Understand what that person is, his position, his psychology, and then listen and understand what he's saying. Don't ever jump to conclusions. That's the worst thing that you can do. Don't jump to conclusions. Delve deeper and think of the other person's feelings and viewpoints before deciding anything. Delve deeper. Think deep within yourself, within what that person is going through. Try to put yourself in his shoes. Basically, have empathy. And that's going to help you. And learn to connect with people, even those whom you do not agree with. You may not subscribe to their viewpoint, but you still need to connect with such people. And you need to respect them. Just connection is not happening. You need to respect them. They have their views. They may have a very strong basis for their views. You need to respect it, even if you don't agree to it. And you need to have a deeper understanding. And you have deeper dialogues with that person to understand where he's coming from and why he has the viewpoint that he has, which is contrary to yours. You might, at the end of the day, after delving deep enough and after having serious, deep understanding and conversations with him, you might realize that he's not wrong. Maybe you are wrong. So let's accept it. Let's keep an open mind and respect that other person, no matter what his viewpoint is. And be actively curious. He might have a different point. You have a different point. Okay. Agree to disagree. No issues. No harm in that. But that person still has something in him which you don't know, or which can help you. There is that new element that is always found in human nature, in human relationship, in human minds, in human feelings. Look for that new. It will definitely help you. Help you yourself. It will help you to understand that other person better. And be curious. We were just talking about it. You need to be curious. Why am I mentioning this point again? Because this is very critical to form relationships. Put the focus on them, not yourself. You are there, but you have to put the focus on them. You need to understand what they are about and not keep talking about yourself. You show an interest in their lives, what is happening, even if he's a cleaner in your office, or he's your driver, or he's your help at home. You need to show an interest in their lives and make it a point to remember things about them. That goes a long way. People appreciate it when you think about it. And when you remember some of these things, use it in future conversations to convey to them that, yes, you do remember them and that you do remember things about them. And that makes them feel important. And it's very important that I have the habit that when I go to a restaurant, I will never call the waiter by snapping my fingers or by doing shh. No. First, as soon as he comes and tells me he's going to work with me that day, I ask him his name. And then for the duration of my meal, until I am in that place, in that restaurant, I will always call him and refer to him by his name. Of course, we all say please and thank you. But trust me, referring to him by his name rather than snapping your fingers or doing a shoo is far better and will get you far better service, better than any tip you can give him. So make them feel important. Attentively listen to their fears and stress points. Because this is what is going to, at the end of the day, make a wonderful connection between you and that person. And if any person tells you he has no fear or no stress points, it's just that he's not open enough with you. So then you need to have that ability to draw it out of them. But understand, listen to their fears and stress points very carefully. And do regular check-ins with that person. If you know that somebody has some challenge about maybe a stress point, he gets stressed when he has to do urgent work. Check with him, everything going fine, up to speed with everything. How much time does it take? Exactly, it takes no time whatsoever, but the effect on your relationship, the effect on him, and the respect he will give you will be profound. And this will make them want to network with you. And that is how you form your network. Be approachable and positive. Don't be a standoff. Don't be snooty. Don't show other people that you don't care or that you are way above them. Be approachable and be positive. Send the right message with the right demeanor and body language. How you act, how you behave, how you stand always tells the other person what kind of an attitude you have, what is it that is there in your mind. Always have a smile and have the right body language. Develop it if you are not. If you're stiff, get flexible. Have the right body language that shows that you are open, you're welcoming and positive. It's generally said that people who sit with crossed arms are closed. Well, I think that's pretty true. I've seen it often enough. Okay, so develop the right body language to show that you're open, you're welcoming, and you're positive. Don't be too serious about everything. Lighten up. Being serious about everything actually can have a negative effect and draw you away from people rather than closer to them. And lighten up. Just relax, chill. It doesn't help to be serious all the time. And use humor to lighten up conversations. You might be having conversation. Yes, if it's a very serious conversation, don't create a joke that moves away from the seriousness of the conversation. But even then, it is still good enough to be able to lighten up that conversation with an innocuous statement, which helps to diffuse the tensions. And at times, it is even better to use self-deprecating humor than just be serious. But yes, don't don't use humor to deprecate the person to whom you're speaking, unless you know that person very well, and it's not a healthy attitude. Self-deprecate yourself, it's okay. You are the one who's getting offended. You don't get offended when you deprecate yourself. So use deprecating humor if necessary, but always try to lighten up the conversation, have some amount of humor. Even in a very serious conversation, even when you are understanding what is happening, humor it. Say, boss, my IQ or my pay scale is way below what you're talking of. And for me, it's flying over my head. Soften up everything, the tension will dissolve, it'll dissipate completely and carry on with the conversation. He'll be more detailed, he'll be able to explain things to you much better. When you're at a party, when you're anywhere, participate in conversations. By staying away from conversations, you are conveying two things which are both negative. The first is that you are completely unaware of the topic. It can be there, but by not participating completely, there might be one iota which you know. Make that small point, make it very clear, okay, this is not my expertise. I am not knowledgeable about it, but this is my 2 bit. But participate in that conversation. People will love you for that. Don't hide your vulnerabilities. Everybody is vulnerable. Okay, don't hide it. If the opposite person is telling you he is not vulnerable, he is not telling you the truth. He is not being honest with you. And when you don't hide your vulnerabilities, the other person sees it and understands that you are vulnerable just like they are. And that will help them to open up with their vulnerabilities. And this sharing of vulnerabilities is going to deepen the bonds, and the connection you make with them will be far better. So the fifth point and the last point is about vulnerability. Okay, everybody, as I said, is vulnerable. Don't hide it. Help others to show their vulnerabilities. You, as I said, you have to be developing the capability of drawing from other people. And this deepens the bonds and connections with them. And when we share our emotions, we show that we are human and open to honesty. If you are honest, that means you are open to honesty and you expect him to be honest. And therefore, you create an environment of trust. If two people who are discussing are honest with each other, naturally, both those people are implying that they are trusting the other person. And when we convey all this, when we convey these vulnerabilities, when we convey that we are honest, we are creating an environment that says it's okay to have challenges. Everybody has challenges. So it's okay to have challenges. And this kind of an environment always, without fail, leads to growth. So emotional intelligence leads to better perception. It uses better use of management and better use and management of emotions. It leads to a focused mind. It leads to equanimity. Equanimity is when you are calm and serene, when you are not hyper. It leads to that kind of a thing. And during those kind of things, you think better, you work better, everything you do is better. It leads to better relationships. And it leads to mindful listening, because that's one of the traits that you are going to develop, active listening. Okay. And it helps you surf the waves of life with perspective and resilience. Two very critical things for a successful person. Developing EI, as I said earlier, takes time, but it is a must for any person to be successful. I hope this little talk has helped you develop emotional intelligence, use the help of your network wherever you need help, and make sure that you are getting to be a better emotionally intelligent person who will have a much higher EQ. And if you have that, you are well on your way to leadership and success. Thank you very much for listening. I hope, as usual, that this is helpful to you. Do send in me your thoughts and comments on this, and do like the video. Do go and subscribe to my channel, and do have a great day. Thank you very much.